Hey everyone, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. Today we're going to do some things with GraphQL. So if you've never heard of GraphQL before, or maybe you just haven't worked with it yet, I'm going to do my best to explain things. Just start out, let me go through some of the technology that we're using, and then that way if you want to go check it out, at least you'll have the names of everything. You can check out some previous streams as well to see where we set up some of these things. But first of all, we're building a React website, and we're using Apollo to help us write the GraphQL queries to get the data. We're getting the data from a MySQL database, all right, through WordPress, right? So it's just a normal WordPress installation. But we also have added a plugin called wp-graphql. That's going to let us send queries to that plugin, and then it's going to do its thing to get the data that we need and then send it back to our React app. So what we need to do today is write the correct query to get the data that we need and be able to display that data on the page. So we've done that once already for a different page, and Argit, who is frequently on the channel, frequent contributor, really talented coder, has already set a lot of this up for us. Okay, so this isn't going to be a from scratch video, but you will get at least some of the basics of how GraphQL works. Alright, I apologize for scheduling this stream so late. Just was busy with other things, and then I kind of realized how late it was. Thought, oh, I better schedule this. So I know there's probably going to be some of you who won't get to see this live because you won't get the notification till later. So I apologize for that. I'll do my best to schedule earlier tomorrow. Also, sorry that I wasn't able to stream yesterday. There was actually a water line break. So the main road to get to where I work is a big hill. There's a water line break at some point on the hill, and water just went everywhere all over the road down the hill. And it was so cold that it froze. So no one could go up or down the road, and so no one could get to work. So that's why I didn't stream yesterday. I was at home, and as many of you know, my internet connection just can't handle streaming at home. So anyway, but I am in the office today. It's warmed up, and I think it's just slightly above freezing, so roads should be fine. So let's get started. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the live chat, and I'll answer some questions a little bit later on in the stream. I'm going to start a timer here to remind me to check back in and answer those questions. And so this is the data that we're going to try to get. So I've pulled over, and we've done this in previous streams. I've shown how I'm migrating data from a SQL Server database over into WordPress. So I've migrated these, they're called directories. In the database. So they're directors. They're basically just listings of each department here at the university I work at, and who works there, what their title is, what building they're in, and what their phone number is. So I'm hoping that they're all kind of in the same order. We'll find out when we pull the data over. But that's all. We just need to pull over this piece of data, so the title, and this piece of data here, and we're just going to display that. So I already have the page set up, and we'll show you that now. Oops, I forgot to change the camera. Apologies. Here's what I was talking about. We're just going to grab this data. So it wasn't really that important. We're just going to grab the title and the content from WordPress. All right. So let me show you, first of all, the page. So we have a React component. If you're familiar with React, this should look familiar to you. Just pretty much a normal React component. We have some different things going on. Since we're using Next, we have this get initial props function available, and this helps us be able to pull in data both on the server side and client side. So anything that we try to grab inside of this function will also that data will also be input into the markup that is built on the server for our server-side rendering. Okay, so that's pretty awesome, and that's a Next.js thing, so you won't find this in every React project. And so this is a copy. This was just a copy of one we've done already, so our posts.js. So we're just going to get the ID from our URL. We're going to pass it in when the user goes there, and that's going to be the slug that we need to be able to display, to be able to grab the right piece of data. And then we're just going to display that. So do we have the title? We're going to have to add one tag just to display the title, but we'll wait till we get some data in before we put that in. But we'll display the content here, and I've already changed this to be directories. So this is set up properly. The only thing that we're going to need to change is we're not using this sample query anymore. We're going to create a new query, and I'll probably end up changing the name of this query. When Argit set it up, it was an example, so that's why it was named sample query. But I changed it, and we'll see here, this query to be the post.js. So we ought to change the name as well. And actually, Argit's in the stream right now. So hey everybody, I see some activity on the live chat. Argit, let me know, and anybody else who's worked with GraphQL, let me know, is it the common practice to have a different JavaScript file for each type of query, or is it a more common practice to have multiple queries in the same file? I think in a previous project we had multiple queries in the same file. Oh, hey, Jason's here. Jason is the creator of wp-graphql, which is the plugin on the WordPress side of things that is going to help us get the data. So that's awesome. Well, when Jason's here, it's always a big help. I appreciate it. Oh, I see. So Jason said in another meeting, but it'll follow along. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for joining us, even though you're busy with another meeting. I really appreciate it. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna wait a second. I'm not getting a response from Argit. Maybe he's not able to watch live. Let's see. All right, so I really think I really kind of think it's gonna get, there's gonna be way too many files if we try to put everything in a different file, right? Okay, Argit's back. Argit, I just wanted to know if it was common practice to have a different JavaScript file for each query, or to put the queries all in one file, or maybe group them into several files. Parwat says, hey, how's it going? Oh, Parwat want to know which library. Apollo. We're using Apollo for our, on the React side of things. All right. So in any case, basically, it's going to be very similar. Our query is going to be, let me double check, but I think it's going to be almost exactly the same. Obviously, we're not going to say faculty, we're going to say directories, and we're not going to say faculty departments. In fact, I don't think we have any categories at all. Okay, Harshit says that you can actually put the queries right in the component if you're not going to reuse them. I think I want to keep them separate for now. There's a chance that we may reuse some of these. I'm thinking especially like this faculty query. You know, we may want to pull that in. We talked last week about maybe highlighting some faculty members on the homepage. So we may want to pull in something from our faculty pages, and I'm assuming, you know, we're going to have some other things like that. So for now, I'm going to make everything a separate component. If we want to, when we go to refactor some of this, if we find some things that we're sure we're not going to reuse, we can always change it up. Let's see. Okay, Parwat asks, are we using Apollo server or Express GraphQL? Let me see. Harshit set this up. What do you think, Harshit? I assume we're using Express GraphQL because we do have Express. At least I was pretty sure we were running Express. Yeah. Did I see it? No. Are we not bringing anything in it right now for that? I guess not. All right. So let's just make a whole new file then, and eventually we want to change this. We'll sort this out as far as kind of the standard names for our files and our queries. But for now, let's just grab all of this. Let's make a new file. Let's call this directories.js. Let's paste this in, and let's change our query name to directory query. We're going to change this to directories, and we don't need 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just counting out loud the number of the number of curly brackets I have, and I don't think we needed that at all. Let's see, ID, title, slug, content. That looks like what we need. All right, great. So let me save that. All right, just in answer to Parwat's question, let's see. Harshit says, we are using PHP, WordPress, GraphQL server provided by wp-GraphqL plugin. And personally, I recommend using Apollo server. I like more than Express GraphQL. Let's see. Harshit says install GraphQL plugin. Let's see. Does VS Code have a plugin? Syntax for Linux queries. Oh, all right. Cool. I will install that. I'm not gonna install it right now during the video, unless you all think that would be good to show. Let me know in the live chat if you'd like to see me install a Visual Studio Code plugin in the live stream. Otherwise, I'll wait and do it later. Thanks for letting me know, though. That'll be useful because we're going to end up writing a lot more of these queries before this project is over. All right. Okay. Let's go back to our directory.js page component, and let's change this to our Directories. Is that what I said? Let's see what I named it. Directory query. Directory query. Alright, we want to set this up the same way as we had before. Alright, wonderful. Alright. Let's see. Now, I think we have enough to test this. Yeah. So let me show you the server. I've already changed this before. So I added here in our server that when we want to go to, when a user goes to our site's URL, so it'll be franciscan.edu/contact/ whatever's after that second slash will get passed on as the ID to our directory component. So the route, it's parameterized. That's what it says. So it's parameterized routing. So you can check that out in the Next documentation. So even though Next comes with its own router, sometimes you still want to do some things like this. Not really hard to do. So I mean, if you want to see the full thing, you check out the repo. Check out the repo for Next as well. There's a link to this repository in the description below. Alright, so let's go here. I do want to make sure our slugs counseling center, since we have this one up, let's try to go to that one. So we'll go, I think it's 3000. Yep. So here's our site, and let's say, oh, here we go. Must have tried it before. So the reason directory query is not defined. Alright, did I not? I must have missed a step. Let's check it out. Whoops, I forgot to import it. So I figured. Directory query from directories. So up here we're importing a lot of the different things that we need. So if you didn't see, I was importing the wrong query. So when I tried to call that query down here, of course, it didn't find anything. The reason I'm using contact and not directories in the URL is because the current site uses contact for their URL. So I want to keep the URL. So you can see, here we are. The data has come through. And actually the title did come through, so there must have been, oops, yeah, it did have an H2 already in here. So that's, I was thinking I'd have to make an H2 in the component, but it's already there. That's wonderful. And the formatting actually is not really that bad. I think I could live with that formatting, really. I mean, obviously we want, you know, we're going to want some padding and things like that, but just in general, not really too bad for that formatting. Let's see, freaking field house. I mean, really, if anything, it might not be a bad idea to have it stacked so that it's, you know, name, title, and then building and phone number. Although since they've added this in as this pipe here, it does make it difficult. But not bad. Alright, so let me test out a few more just to see if we have consistency with our data. I've checked a few, but I haven't checked everything. So let's go in here and see. Let me check out my department. Let's see what the slug is. Marketing communications. All right, not bad. A little bit different. So for some reason we have a lot of spacing here, and we have a phone number at the top. So not bad, but the format of everything, here is the same, and there I am. Don't call me during the stream; it'll just be distracting. But all right, not bad. We'll just have to keep in mind to kind of double check these to fix the spacing and things. Let me try one more, because I think we may have some departments that are a little irregular. Human resources. I want to remember. See if I can remember which one was a little different. Actually, let's go through the site. Oops, I typed the wrong thing in. Let's check out the live version of the site right now. franciscan.edu/contact. Let's see, general contact info, admissions. Let me just open up several. Oh, there we go. Admissions was the one that was different. Let's see if. Wow, this is interesting. Admissions had a completely different URL as well. Maybe that didn't even come through. See, there's little things like this that are making this somewhat difficult. No, admissions wasn't even part of this. So, yeah, well, I guess we'll just have to be aware of this and try to figure out, what to do. I'd love to keep as many of the URLs intact as I can, but some of the structure's not really, it doesn't make a ton of sense, right? So I do get that this page is supposed to be for prospective students, so they wanted to make it different, maybe more attractive for students, a little different layout, but the whole change in URL makes it, I don't know, it just makes it problematic, I guess, for trying to organize everything. So there may be some cases where we might want to display the same content on two different pages, because I think it would make more sense to have admissions underneath that section of contact, right? But it may also make sense to have the admissions counselors listed in the admissions section, right? Also, you could see who's not listed here. There's some people, maybe I just have to go to the next page, but there are definitely some people in the department who are not listed here at all. So for now, we'll just go on to the next one. All right, this looks standard. And department chairs. All right, that looks pretty standard. I want to know if that actually came in. Contact academic chairs. Great, that did come in. Good. Contact directories. All right, yeah, this one. Contact. I'm not sure what this one is. Why was that even in there? Wow, so development department's link is a link to a different site. This is a bit of a mess. Let's see. All right, about 3 minutes left on this this Pomodoro cycle, and then we'll go to the live chat. But I think there's going to be some change to how we do this, because from a user experience standpoint, I don't think this is the best. if you're trying to go through and get contact info for these departments, you know, there's a certain standard layout for some departments, but then you go to admissions and it's different. It doesn't even show all the employees. You go to development and it takes you to the site where you go to give money to the university. It doesn't even list the people that work in development. So we're going to have, it's going to be different. I think we're going to maybe like have to either we'll do it, you know, I'll do it, or we'll get someone else to do it. Put in WordPress, you know, some extra directories that follow the standard pattern to make up for those sections that we're seeing here that just link off to unexpected places. Even some of the Office of Catechetics doesn't even have a link. Community relations. I mean, I realize they do have a phone number, but you know, we'll have to see, because this is definitely you know, a bit confusing, and we may have to make a page like this. So the page that is just contact will have to be made. I don't think it all came in. I thought it was this one. Yeah, this does not look like it's the same as this page. Is it general contact info? Let me double check. Maybe it was. Yeah, maybe it is. Okay, so we do have this. That's good. Alright, so maybe we'll just have to work out the URL then. Alright, that's good news. At least we have something to go on. Alright, I'm going to go to the live chat now. I know we have a minute left, but I mean, what am I really going to get done in a minute? So let me start this short break timer, and I'm going to check out what's going on in the live chat. So I got a little distracted. I got a message from my wife. She's asking me a coding question. My wife's learning how to code. She's doing the Flatiron school right now. Let's see. Mikey says something about spaghetti. Not sure. Not sure what you're referring to, Mikey. You may have to clarify. Okay, Parwat mentioned saying Apollo server is not stable. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Nura asks, why are you not in Facebook Live? I've never done Facebook Live. Is there a reason why I should be on Facebook Live? As far as I know, freeCodeCamp doesn't do live things on Facebook. So we have a presence on YouTube. I'm pretty sure there was a Twitch channel as well, but I don't think we do anything with that right now. Parwat says, hey Jesse, who set up this project? Harshit did a lot of the setup. So, I mean, I did the initial setup of, you know, Next, right? And I created like some of the layout. But then in terms of all the GraphQL stuff, Harshit set all that up. So pretty much everything in this lib folder Argit set up a little bit. Everything I've done in here has just been slight modifications, you know, based on our needs with the data. So it's been a collaboration. If you want to know really who did what, check out the repo and look at the commits. Let's see. Oh, all right. So Argit said the name of the Visual Studio Code plugin for GraphQL is in his blog. So if you've never been to Argit's blog, very helpful and informative. It's wp-techblogs.com. So check that out. There's a lot of good good blog posts in there about, you know, React and different technologies for really like full stack development. Parwat says, hello everyone, I have a GitHub repo of GraphQL Relay.js implemented. You can check it out. My username in GitHub is Parwat08, so that's Parwat08. Thanks, Parwat, I appreciate that. Maybe I'll check that out. Let's see. Depending on how long the stream goes, maybe I can check it out after. I do have to leave work a bit early today, so I may not have time, but I will check that out. JCQ says hi from Malaysia. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Netscope says, I always have trouble making navigation bars. Got any tips for me? It depends on what you're using. So if, let's see. All right, if you want to like make it from scratch, you know, with just CSS, HTML, then I don't know. It just really depends on what style you want to make. I would look at, I usually copy and paste code from previous projects or check out how it's implemented in other projects. But if you're using some sort of framework, if it is just a regular HTML site, you know, check out Bootstrap or Materialize or Foundation or one of those, and it'll help you a lot with the navigation bars. If you're using React, you can check out, you know, Material UI, or there's a React Bootstrap. There's, you know, there's a lot of different options, but you could probably find a component library or a single component that will do a lot of the work for you. So, I mean, you definitely have some options there. And then once you get through it, you know, once you have some code to go with, you know, you can always copy and paste and adapt it, you know, for future projects. So, anyway, that's my advice. If you wanted more specific advice and you had like a particular project you're working on now, you know, let me know. Send me a link to it or something, to the code. I could check it out and help out. So, but just in general, you know, I'd say, you know, don't try to do it all from scratch if you don't have to. You know, definitely use some of the resources that are available. All right. There's a few more questions. My timer went off, but I'm just going to go through these last few questions that are on here, just because I'm so close to the bottom. The Hopeless Brit asks, opinions on learning PHP versus learning JavaScript with Node. Do you think we'll see PHP dropping off, or do you think it will always be in high demand? It depends on what you want to do. I think if you want to be, well, if you want to be a front-end developer, you must learn JavaScript. JavaScript is everywhere, no matter what's used in the backend. If you want to do backend stuff, though, you don't have to go with Node, right? PHP is still a valid option. A lot of things use PHP. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Just WordPress alone, the existence of WordPress and how popular it is, I think guarantees PHP is going to be around for a while, because WordPress runs on PHP. And if you want to specialize in that, then definitely learn PHP. But what I'm doing And I kind of recommend this, unless for some reason you really like another backend language, is just go full stack JavaScript. We don't have all the time in the world, right? People are busy. You only have a certain amount of time to dedicate to learning. So why not learn one language and be able to do front end and back end, right? It's a lot easier. So I mean, that's the way I look at it. So I'm focusing solely on JavaScript, both front and back end. I do way more with the front end, but as you can see on these streams, we still have to do some things with servers and form handling, sending emails and things like that. So we do work in the back end a bit. But I think either one is still a valid option for back-end programming, PHP or Node. I do see, I don't know numbers, but I get the feeling that using Node on the back end is getting more popular. I don't know if PHP is necessarily dropping off, but I don't get the feeling that it is gaining more traction. So that's just my feeling, though, from social media and articles and things. I don't have any numbers on that, so don't take that as for sure. Hopefully that answers your question. Victor says, being new to programming, should I learn to program JavaScript before languages like Python? All right, so this kind of fits a little bit with the last question, and I would say it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to get into more stuff with the web, JavaScript for sure. If you're not sure what you want to do, and maybe you're interested in, I don't know, like game development or data science or like machine learning, I think Python's a great choice. I don't know that much in Python, but the little bit that I have done with it, I enjoyed using Python. The other option to consider is if there's a certain company you want to work for or a certain type of programming you want to do, you may want to do some research into what's used, right? If the company you want to work for only uses Python, no sense learning JavaScript, right? Or they could be using something else, completely. So once you learn one language, it is a lot easier to learn the second one. So don't feel like you'll always be stuck with that one. Programming is programming. Jumping from one language to another is mostly just learning new syntax. All right, Netscope says, yeah, I use Bootstrap already. So this was the question from earlier about navigation bars. So Netscope says, I use Bootstrap usually, but sometimes you have a project at school where we're not allowed to use this stuff and just need HTML and CSS. This is where I usually get stuck. Okay, all right, good. That's a little bit more specific. I would say this. Check out what's going on behind the scenes in Bootstrap. So look at one of your Bootstrap projects where you have a navigation bar that looks kind of like how you want it to look on your plain CSS project, and go in DevTools, inspect things, and see what's the actual CSS behind those class names, and then maybe you'll get an idea for how it's done, right? You can take that then, adapt it to what you need, and I think that's a good way to see how they do it. You could even try, check out some other sites and see how they do it. You'll find differences. There's not just one way to do it. Even the positioning of all the links and things. There are several different ways in CSS that could be done. Sometimes, depending on what the menu does, there may be JavaScript in use. So that's what I would do. Just do some DevTools inspecting, and that should give you an idea of how different things are done. All right. All right. Argit is really excited about me installing this plugin, so let me install it really quick. So Command P, and what are we gonna do? And paste. All right, let's command P. All right, let's check it out. That actually was really fast, Argit. You were right. Where's our... I don't think I have anything open in terms of directories. Oh, here we are. Okay, cool. Now we have some nice syntax highlighting with our queries. Awesome. Thanks, Argit. That was super easy. All right. Let's see. All right. Well, we actually we did what I wanted to do, and we finished it in one Pomodoro session. So I mean, I thought it was possible that we could do it, but we just did it really fast. So I guess I'm going to go through the live chat a bit. If there's anything that anybody wants to see me actually do in this project, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to do some live chat stuff. This may end up being a short stream. And unless I can think of something that would fit, you know, kind of with what we're doing. But so we have a comment here from Basil, and it says hello. It says, guys, hello from Ukraine. Hey, how's it going? Is it Basil or Basil? How is it pronounced? Let me know. I want to make sure I pronounce it properly for you. The Hopeless Brit says, I think it's always good to learn it without a framework. First, move on to learning frameworks for CSS and navigation stuff. Cool. Hopeless Brit also says, Node is growing here in the UK, and cheers for the response. Oh, no problem. Hopefully it was helpful. Netscope says, is it normal that I want to learn everything, like web development, app development, game development, etc.? Yeah, you know what? I think that's normal, especially if you're starting out. So I think you said earlier you were in school. So, yeah, I think that's normal. You're not really going to know what you want until I think you start to specialize. And even then, there's always going to be a part of you that says, wow, it would be cool to work with this. So, I mean, I still do that. I've been doing web development, I don't know. I've been as a front-end developer here for 2.5 years. And then before that, I was freelance for a few years. And there are still times when I read about, you know, some other new technology, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I want to get into that. But I'm happy with what I do. You know, you can't learn everything, and you certainly can't be an expert at more than, you know, 1 or 2 things at once, unless, you know, maybe you're some type of 1 in a million genius or something like that. But even then, someone who's a genius could always be better at one thing than at multiple things at once, right? That's what specialization does. Specialization is great because you get better at one thing, but saying yes to that one thing means you're saying no to all the other things because you only have so many hours in the day. But anyway, at this point though, Netscope, I'd say try out a little bit of everything and figure out what you really like, and then go into that. And then you could always switch later on. So, you know, don't feel like you gotta. I'm not saying you do feel like this, but in case it happens, don't feel like you're gonna get trapped in one area. Oh, Harshit says, my first language was Java, by the way. Oh, cool. Haven't really done that much with Java for a long time. Once did a little game in Java, though. It was fun. Hopeless Brit says, Java is great. Never really supported the fact that our uni made us learn both Java and then C++. Yeah, when the one computer programming course I took in college was C++. We made a calculator. Mohan says, hello from India. Looks like I'm a bit late to the party. You know what? I got finished with what I wanted to do so much earlier than I normally do, mainly because everything worked. Normally I mess something up and it takes a lot longer, but everything worked this time, so I'm happy that it worked, but I guess it makes the live stream a little bit more boring. Let's see. The Hopeless Brit says, what do you often find more challenging / rewarding? Front end, back end, or full stack? I definitely, for me at this point, I think back end is more challenging. I've been doing front end for longer, and it's so visual. I think it's really easy to see when you haven't got it right and when you got it right. You know, you can just look and see, all right, that looks great. Or you can tell immediately, that won't work. That's terrible. It looks awful. Back end is not like that as much. You know, so coming from the front end and now trying to learn back end, of course back end is more challenging to me. Front end seems more rewarding though, simply because you see your result at the end of the day and other people see it. Like, I never have compliments somebody saying like, oh, you know, the back end on that app is just amazing. No, nobody says that. They always say, oh, the site's so beautiful, it's so clean, it's fast. So the back end may have something to do with all that, but people don't see it. Now, if personally rewarding, I do really like when I get something to work in the back end, because it's hard for me. So it is rewarding in that sense. I would love to be full stack at some point. I think it would be fun and provide, you know, for a lot of variety. I'd also be able to, you know, create things, you know, completely on my own if possible. I really do like working with other people, especially with you all on projects. But if I really wanted to, I could create a project on my own. So I'm moving towards that direction. I mean, I think for those of you who watched the stream, you know, for a while now, I think you probably have seen more of a progression of, you know, us getting into more back-end things. So I've definitely come a long way, you know, just, you know, in the last year with that. But, you know, for now, front end is my thing. Actually, that reminds me, I was talking with somebody yesterday about learning management systems, and they were talking about how there's just not a lot of good options out there, especially for open source learning management systems. And I know we've talked about it before on the stream, but I think I really want to start working on a learning management system built with React, full stack JavaScript, like progressive web app style, right? Maybe there's something like that out there, but I don't know about it yet, and I just think that would be very useful, especially for, you know, companies just starting out. They don't have a ton of money to be able to commit to one of like the big learning management systems. I don't know. I think it would be cool. Make something that's really fast, can work offline. You know, just think how much, like in countries that don't have reliable internet access, like how nice would it be to be able to have a progressive web app as your learning management system, so that like a nonprofit could just use this open source system. You know, in a lot of those places, you know, people have cell phones. You can just load it, you know, as a web page, right? And, you know, we could even do an app with it if we wanted, but load it as a web page, you know, load up a lot of the stuff you need for the class so that when you don't have a connection, it's right there. You can do your tests and everything. When you do get a connection, everything just gets synced up. I mean, that would be really useful. If someone knows of something like that that's already out there, you know, let me know. I'd be happy to check it out or maybe even help contribute. But if there's nothing like that right now, I think that would be a really cool thing to work on. So if anybody else thinks that would be cool to work on, you know, let me know. You know, I'm busy. I mean, I think we're all kind of busy, but that's something important that I think it would be cool to make time for and could really help, you know, help out a lot of people. So anyway, you know, I would need, probably, I mean, obviously, like front-end design stuff, I got that. A lot of the React things, I have that, but this would be something where, you would need it connected with a database, and I'm not great with databases. We would need some type of login system, user authentication. We definitely want it to be secure, right? There's going to be student records and things. So there's going to be a lot of areas where I'm just not going to have the knowledge, and it's probably not the best use of my time to try to get better in those areas if that's not really my thing right now. If I have to, I have to. But if anybody out there knows more about that and wants to help, let me know. I think it'd be a cool project. So maybe I'll make a repo for it soon, just so that we could get started, get some ideas, start talking about it. All right, I'm gonna go back to the live chat now and answer some more of your questions. Lucas says, "Good afternoon, my friend." Good afternoon. Thanks for watching. Rook says, "What does the with root higher order component actually do? Something with styles?" Let's see. Let me see the with root component. Where are we at? Where am I missing that? Was that what it was called? Where are my components? There we go. Yeah, so let's check this component out. We're bringing in our styles, global HTML background, wrapper. Oh, all right. Yeah, so this is wrapping our MUI theme provider is from obviously Material UI. So this is wrapping everything within our app in there, and then we got a lot of other stuff going on with our styles, which I'm not even sure. I'm assuming this is a lot of the stuff. I think Argit did this. I'm assuming this is a lot of the setup from the Material UI docs on how to bring in on how to bring this stuff in. But basically, yeah, what it's doing is just making sure that all the Material UI theme stuff is available in our components. Harshit says, as project is getting to completion, what is your deployment plan? Will you be using DigitalOcean? Zeit now is getting really good. You can scale to multiple servers in one command with managing servers. You know what? We're going to have to think more about that, but I don't think I'm going to go with DigitalOcean. I think maybe AWS, so Amazon Web Services, or I'm open to something like using Zeit. I've done some side projects on Zeit, and I do really like it. It's really easy. So I'm going to have to reassess. It's been a couple months since I first came up with a deployment plan. Actually, even before that, I started planning it out a year ago. So maybe I should reassess before I really have to launch and see, is the plan that I came up with before still the best way to do it? Maybe not. Maybe there's a better way to do it now that, that I either didn't know about or didn't exist before. So I'm glad you brought that up. It would definitely be helpful to be able to scale things up with a command instead of managing multiple servers. So that's a really good point, Harshit. Yeah, whatever we do, we just have to make sure it has all the functionality that we need. Which really, I mean, we don't even have contact forms on the site right now, so it's actually going to be pretty basic. So I just want it to be fast. Whatever we do, it just needs to be fast and reliable. Let's see. The Hopeless Brit says, great job with that SQL and PHP. Very true, you never hear that. I don't remember what I said. The Hopeless Brit, I don't remember what I said that comment is directed toward. Let's see. Hopeless Brit said, I have to say, I think projects like Khan Academy gave me my inspiration to move towards the full stack developer side of things. Cool. You know what? I actually haven't looked at Khan Academy for years. I'm going to have to check that out and see what they have available on the site. Even for my own kids, I think maybe it'd be useful. Oh, all right. In regard to this component, this with root, Harshit says it server renders material UI style sheet and classes using JSS. Okay. And then reuses the context on the client. All right, that makes a lot more sense. As I was looking at this, I kept thinking this is a lot more setup than we've used before with Material UI, and that totally makes sense now. So to be able to use Material UI with our server-side rendering and on the client side, then that's where a lot of this stuff had to happen. So thanks for clarifying that, Harshit. Draxter says, I have a question. Can I use React without Node.js? Yes, I believe you can. I have never done it, but right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you can use React without Node, right? Because you can use React client side, right? Like he's saying, right. I don't want to say anything wrong, so let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can use React without Node, and in fact, you can use it just client side if you want to. All right. Harshit also says you don't need to manage the SSLs if you use Zeit. That's cool. I'm not really worried about the SSL. It's kind of, you know, once you set it up and set up the auto renew, it's not that hard. You know, it's only, you know, less than an hour setup. But that is cool that it manages it. Although that might be an issue. I know because the IT department purchased some SSL with all this insurance or something for the main site, and they may want us to try to use those certs. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. All right. Hopeless Brit says, Khan Academy is such an amazing platform. Plus, you can find a lot of their learning tools are open source. Very cool. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. Hopeless Brit said, they for sure gave the site a facelift. Could be a lot faster, though. Yeah, I really think a good learning management system should be fast, right? The slowness of the system could definitely distract the learner, right? So, I mean, speed is important for every site, but I think it's very important for that. I mean, there's already someone who's trying to learn something already has to fight distraction so much to be able to focus. You know, you don't want to cause them more distraction by either having a terrible UI or having your site be really slow. So I think, yeah, like you know, if you design it right off the bat with that in mind, I think you could definitely have something that's really, that runs really quickly. It's not using HTTP. It's quite good speed. All right, Harshit's saying, Zeit automatically uses HTTP2. Very cool. It says the catechetical site has a good speed and it's not using HTTP2. Yeah, the catechetical site is fast. I mean, way faster than some of the other university sites that were made before I started working here. All right, cool. Harshit says you can use custom certs with Zeit. All right, that's cool. I'm not worried about it. I think we'd be fine with, you know, Let's Encrypt free certification, or, you know, SSL certs. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you know how things are. Sometimes, you know, if that cert was already purchased for, I don't know, years in advance, that's not going to look good for the IT department if, you know, anybody higher up found out, like, oh, you paid all this money for these certs, you're not even using them, you know, you did it for free. So, you know, just to, like, kind of help them out, it might be better just to use them, and then maybe when they expire, switch over or something. But I don't know what the case is. I'll have to talk to them and see exactly what's going on. I'm trying to think, too, if they have it. I mean, they may have it be applied to other, like, subdomains, too. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I wasn't involved that much in the I mean, I encouraged them to get an SSL certificate, but I wasn't that much involved in actually, you know, purchasing it and, you know, applying it. It was, I don't really know that much about IIS servers anyway, so that wasn't my thing. Oh, Harshit says you should enable HTTP2 in Nginx settings and catechetical site. All right, that's cool. I'll definitely have to look that up. I hadn't even thought of it, but I should do that. Yeah, I do. As you all know, I mentioned I do want to make some updates to the catechetical site. I've been working on it. We updated a bunch of packages on the stream, but I need to switch over. The video's not working anymore now that I updated, so I'm going to switch that up to YouTube instead of JW Player and try to get it to work like that. And I need to make some other changes to the UI. We're going to add some contact forms and things. So there's definitely more work that needs to be done, and in that process of doing all that, I think that would be a great time to update some more things, including using HTTP2, update packages on the server, you know, a lot of things like that. Harshit says, but if they purchased DigiCert, use that. It has, what is that, 1 million insurance or something? I don't know how many zeros are there. Yeah, 1 million. Yeah, like I said, yeah, if they already purchased it, then I'll use their purchased certificate. But I would like to know, like, how much time is left on it. If they only have a few months before it expires, then do we really need that? We're not taking anybody's payment information. We're not even having a user login or anything like that. Do we really need the insurance? I don't know. I'll have to look into it. The Hopeless Brit asks, says, have you got any experience with Laravel? I think if I ever was to learn PHP framework, it would be Laravel. I personally have no experience with Laravel, but I hear about it. I see articles about it and things. So I think that's probably a good way to go. If you do want to do PHP, you know, Laravel seems like the way to go. But I don't know that much about it. I just know that I see it mentioned a lot. All right. Well, I think I've been streaming for about an hour. So decent length stream anyway. I got through all the live chat now, which ended up being a really good chat. I love it. A lot of great questions. Got some great info as well. So I really appreciate all that. I think I'm going to wrap things up. So I should be back tomorrow. I'm going to try to do things, stream around 1 p.m. I think that's seems to be a good time for a lot of you, you know, that are watching from different time zones. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching today, and until tomorrow, have a great day.